You stop hurting my daddy!
No, Gohan! You're worthless!
Hey Dad, I'm leaving to fight Cell because he killed my real father.
Go on, sit your bitch ass down!
Hey, so I know you put a hole in my true father, but can we just, get along? Watch a football game?
I hate football. Wait, hold on a second. Wanna see a trick? I'm a balloon!
Shit! My hubris! It's okay, Gohan, because even though you low-key doomed us all on some nonchalant BS, you'll never make the same mistake again!
Hey! What the?
Gohan! What are you doing? Please lock in! My parlay depends on this! My prostate! My hole! My eyes!
What did they do to you, Gohan?
So Gohan, the original potential man, a Mike Tyson toddler that did not duck a fade since day one, even when he was severely outmatched. It didn't matter if he was only playing cool math games the day before or doing pre-calc because Chi-Chi is low-key a psychopath. Gohan always had that dog within him to send any opponent back to the cringe compilation. But over time, especially once Gohan entered his adult era, it seems like his character has entered its cringe era, and people within the Dragon Ball community low-key see him as more of a yo-yo potential man. A guy who is only truly based all the way back when he was as tall as Vegeta. But is this actually true? Well, to find out the answer to that question, we need to go back to the beginning of Chapter 1, the infant Mike Tyson. So, as we know, when Gohan was first introduced in Dragon Ball, he was not only untrained, but also homeschooled. And even Goku's forest-sheltered ass knew that this could not stand. So to give him the character development he desperately needed, Goku decided to kill himself in Roblox so that Gohan's drunk uncle could be subdued because he was low-key salty about losing to Gohan on Smash Bros. Oh yeah, and this is basically because Gohan can low-key take on Saiyan Saga level threats before he could even imagine what a dumbbell looked like. And Gohan's real father, Papa Piccolo, saw the potential to train this kid to be his next starter Pokemon. So he takes him under his wing since Gohan's fake biological father, Sean Schimmel, is too busy training with himself.
Leave me alone, I'm meditating, I don't want children!
And once the Saiyans finally arrive, Gohan's skills are truly put to the test for the very first time. And at first, bro is low-key fumbling the bag, and it seems like that he can't even take on Saiyan Saga level threats nearly as easily as he once did before. I mean, I don't know, I guess he must have had beginner's luck or something. But later on, Gohan low-key locks the fuck in and begins pounding Vegeta's bad eye specifically, which is honestly just embarrassing for the Vegito Tiptoe Maxer. So Gohan holds his own against the dwarf, which gives them just enough time to chuck a pair of booster shoes at him and win the day. And if you don't want to wear booster shoes like Vegeta just to become the same height as First Form Frieza, then you should consider subscribing to the Super Kami Jacob channel. But the Namek Saga is truly where Gohan's bread and butter shines as the infant Mike Tyson peekaboo menace to society. Because he first starts off his ass-beating compilation with the Dorothy, because despite what his coward Unc Krillin was telling him about Gohan being weaker than him or her, honestly still trying to figure that out, Gohan did not care and was willing to put the pause on that pink durian fruit any day of the week if it meant saving innocence, which would actually help them out severely later since Dende was actually low-key goated like that and was the only one on the planet who spoke Spanish. Then later on, when Gohan gets his potential unleashed, man, he is ready to square up with Vegeta. And honestly, given how Gohan would later do against the Ginyu Force, I don't think he would have actually done all that bad against Vegeta. I mean, he easily lasted the longest, with Vegeta absolutely getting recummed on, Krillin getting one-pumped, but Gohan managed to stall for just long enough so that his fake biological father could arrive and give belt to ass against the Space Circus. But Gohan is still not done yet in this saga, because after Krillin gets one-pumped again, because he doesn't have Zenkai cheats, Gohan starts seeing red and suddenly discovers his signature move, the Gut Demolisher, against second form Frieza. Now granted, this doesn't exactly last long, and all he really ends up doing is just stalling for enough time until Krillin fails to land the Destructo Disc after using the Solar Flare. Like, it was right there, dude! And also, despite not being nearly as strong enough to take on third form Frieza, Gohan later manages to do even better against final form Frieza. Also while being exhausted, because filler content makes literally no sense in the Dragon Ball universe. But then in the Cell Saga, not only does bro not get pissed off when his Papa Piccolo gets a hole put into him by a guy who willingly did plastic surgery on himself to make him look like ugly as shit. Like, dude, you had a robot body and you chose to look like... But he was also just less involved in general and basically just pranced around taking care of Goku after his cortisol spiked from needing to be a father for 3 years, and also played murder mystery with Trunks when trying to locate the local Bugman. And hell, even Krillin gets more screen time against Cell than Gohan does in this saga. And I also need to specifically mention that Gohan specifically witnessed his Papa Piccolo get a giant hole blasted into him, which makes him tweak so hard, probably like he should have previously, let's be real here, when the failed plastic surgeon blew a hole into his Papa Piccolo earlier, to the point that Goku is literally forced to punch his bitch ass into submission, because Gohan is not going to listen to his fake biological father when his real father's life is on the line. So they begin training in the hyperbolic time chamber and are currently attempting to knock off each other for the years of homeschooling neglect. But Gohan must have had his head bashed in during that training, because he, for some reason, completely forgets about the fact that Piccolo got a hole put into him and nearly died not but a day or a year ago if you're time chamber. And the fact that Cell had single-handedly sucked an entire city's worth just to achieve his perfect balls and shaft. Like, did Gohan just forget about all of that? Because he tries to talk no jutsu Cell. Yeah, this was the same Gohan who a year back was ready to fly down to Cell and bring belt to ass just to help Piccolo. And it did not matter that Gohan was severely weaker than him, because now all of a sudden, Gohan decides that he wants to be a pacifist. Like, you are not Origin, little bro. Like, did bro have an Undertale playthrough while he was in the time chamber? Because shockingly, when he realizes that the evil Bugman is fucking evil, he finally decides to lock in again and beat his ass, only to end up losing it all because of his hubris. Because that's another sudden character flaw that we need for Gohan, which I guess causes his fake biological father to perish. But hey, let's be real here. The only real consequences here was the fact that Goku left before he had to pay child support for Goten. But hey, at least Gohan could guarantee that Krillin got to hit an infinite amount of sets of cyber sex on Android 18. Chapter 2, Gohan's Douglas. Gohan doesn't train for a whole 7 years because of the peaceful times, and manages to still maintain his buff physique because nothing's fair in this world. Even though bro was literally left as Earth's sole protector. Because let's be real here, Vegeta is definitely not the contender to protect the Earth. Because bro is currently going through his midlife depression arc ever since Goku left his elastic dick edged.
Why did you have to leave me, Kakarot?
In the very least, however, Gohan does still have the ability to turn into a Super Saiyan 2 and uses his powers to be a superhero and actually do good for the world. And hot take, but I actually really enjoyed the Gohan school arc because it allows us to see another side to Gohan when he isn't, well, you know, watching everyone get absolutely murked on a random Tuesday because the unemployed Z-Fighters decide to challenge the local Saiyan Saga level threat, and introduce Videl in a way that gave her a good amount of screen time to actually flesh out her character. Not really something that I can say for all the women in Dragon Ball. I mean, too bad that they basically turned her into an entire freaking vanilla ice cream in Dragon Ball Super. You were not cooking, Kira. And just on top of that, this arc was just simple fun and honestly did not feel too overextended. However, after this point is when the main saga begins and Gohan starts to lose his sauce. But before we get into that, we need to talk about Chi-Chi's parlay. Because you see, ordinarily, Chi-Chi wouldn't allow Gohan to touch a gym with a 100-foot pull. However, specifically for the purpose of getting them money for her and her father's unemployed ass, because why would they actually do anything other than sit on their asses all day? She allows Gohan to enter the tournament because they are in desperate need to pay their grocery bills. Since Gohan is so strong that he's basically guaranteed to win the tournament without a single problem. However, the tables suddenly shift away from his favor when Vegeta decides to join the tournament. Not because he doesn't have enough money, because he literally has his sugar mama Bulma, but because Goku Buddy is going to be entering the tournament as well, which gives him the perfect opportunity to show Goku some of his new fighting moves. Yeah. So Chi-Chi sets up some parlays ahead of time, since she basically has insider information for who is actually going to be winning this tournament. She puts 33% on Goku winning, another 33% on Gohan winning, and another 33% on Vegeta losing and receiving severe backshot. Unfortunately for Chi-Chi, however, none of her parlays are going to get fulfilled today, because Gohan needs to get the Machine Glut Glut 9000 and fight against the mid-side character baddie who unironically would have been a better villain in Daima than Goma's bitch ass. But unfortunately, the most that Gohan can currently do right now is just match up against him and not much else. And this level of midness infuriates Vegeta to the point where he legitimately considers switching sports teams. And Deborah can see as clear as day the potential darkness that lays inside of Vegeta. Because switching sports teams should be a crime punishable by death, even if your team is the Jets. However, Vegeta cares so little for sports, and more so for Goku's cock. So to fulfill Vegeta's 7-year-long fantasy, Goku engages him in a fight in the backyard, while Gohan and Supreme Fraud attempt to take care of business. Unfortunately, they don't manage to make it in time, and the evil Bubble Yum gets unleashed. And despite Bro having laid on the Krispy Kreme donuts for the past 20 years, he makes Gohan look like he's been on a diet that contained nothing but Taco Bell, and absolutely bitches him. And because of this humiliating loss, Gohan finally begins his training arc once again, where he swings a big, long, and heavy sword around and has some random old guy dance around him like he's at some country club so that he can finally unlock his full potential, man. Then with his hubris fully engaged, he pulls up to battle Bubble Yum once again and pulls out his signature gut-demolishing move. And from this move alone, it is as clear as day that Gohan is only one step away from achieving his victory royale. But we need to mention flaw number 2 with Gohan. You remember when Gohan's fake biological father died as a result of his hubris? Well, Gohan must have forgot that too, because he cared so little about this event that he low-key forgot that was the reason why all that happened in the first place, and ends up making the same mistake again, which not only allows Gotenks to get absorbed, but also allows Gohan to begin losing what was supposed to be Super Boo's ass-beating compilation, and then he himself gets absorbed via the pink banana. Even when later on he is finally released via kettle corn popcorn, Goku is low-key still salty about that loss from earlier, so he high-key just lets him and all of his other sons die in exchange for the Catholic's #1 op, because he doesn't want to pay child support, even though Gohan would have been more than capable of taking out Kid Buu. But luckily, even despite this severe blunder, Goku still manages to save the day when he pulls out the good old reliable. And with this victory secured, there are a lot of lessons that Gohan should be learning from this experience, such as the fact that he should not keep losing to hubris because it's low-key just embarrassing, and he should keep training so that he doesn't get immediately dog-walked again.
I know I should watch my waistline, but it's so good. I come here whenever I want to drink.
I see you got the extra whipped cream in there, huh? Yummers. Guess you wanted to cram in as much fat fuck as possible, huh? Yummers.
Did I do something wrong?
Yummers.
You know, I need 30,000 calories a day.
Yummers.
My sense of fat.
Because Goku is back, and he will just be the one to consistently save the day once again. There's no need for Gohan to train. He can just take care of his family while his daddy takes care of business. No, seriously, Gohan has a sugar daddy in Mr. Satan and a military dad in Goku, who will just protect him from everything. I mean, it truly don't get no better than this. Unlike the rest of the Z fighters who can happily retire into their families or single-haired lovers, Gohan does not quite have that luxury for retirement, because he is still and always will be the original potential man. But to be fair, Gohan getting bitched in Resurrection F only really happens in the anime, because the movie does even less, and the manga doesn't even exist. So, you know what? Who's to even really say what happened in Resurrection F? Maybe it just doesn't exist at all. I have a dream that one day Resurrection F will get banned from the official canon timeline. So Gohan, realizing that he cannot just sit on his fat ass hands any longer, finally begins training once again. And to be honest, I kind of wish that they had extended this part from the anime, because Gohan is still just basically training in the background, but not really doing a ton, because he's still fat as fuck. I mean, even the manga goes through more efforts to show that Gohan is consistently training. I just wish that we got to see it more often in the anime, because it would make it much more believable for him to have re-achieved his ultimate form and expand it to far greater heights by the time the Tournament of Power rolls around. Because jumping from an ultimate form, which is just stronger than Super Saiyan 3, all the way up to a transformation which in the very least reaches Super Saiyan God levels, is a little bit ridiculous when you do it in just one afternoon. Because instead what we get in the anime is Gohan training up to the point where he can achieve Super Saiyan again. But Loki gets bitched in the expedition match, but at least eliminating his opponent after needing a severe prescription change. But yeah, all in all, I feel like that the anime should have really fleshed out the amount that Gohan was actually training, because if he was training since Resurrection F, there is no excuse to throw in like 1 or 2 clips of him just training for a little bit and re-achieving his ultimate form, so that we could just look back and say, yeah, Gohan really did earn that shit. Chapter 3, Ultimate Gohan Tyson. So as mentioned before, Gohan trains with Papa Piccolo for one afternoon to achieve his ultimate transformation once again. Because it is literally just that easy. But finally, after this point, Gohan has re-achieved his status as the absolute menace to society who will destroy your internal organs at any given notice. No, seriously, because Papa Piccolo basically told Gohan that all he needs to do to win his fights is never hold back on any of his opponents so that he can finish off fights quickly. And oh boy, did Gohan take that advice well. Did my man deserve all of that, Gohan? Because for heaven's sake, you are about to give this man force Ebola and shit his liver out. And hell, in pretty much the entirety of the Tournament of Power, Gohan is just hitting everyone with like the meanest hook shots that I've ever seen. He even manages to both overpower and take out Dispo as one of the final 3 in Universe 11, showing us how he still has got that dog in him. He just simply needed to train for one afternoon, meditate to forget his hubris, so that he could begin giving belt to ass once again. Now, something that not a lot of people would know around this time is that after the Tournament of Power, Gohan doesn't actually stop training in the superhero movie like everyone would have believed. No, because what actually happened was that the Moro arc happened after the Broly movie, which Gohan wasn't in at all, so maybe he was stuffing his face in chocolate milkshakes in the movie again. But the Moro arc did have Gohan in it. And something to know is that he actually kept up with his training, because when Piccolo was fighting against one of Moro's Gooners as the sole protector of Earth, because Goku and Vegeta are currently on their training side quests after getting their asses handed to them, Gohan pulls up, probably with his ultimate form, and begins beating the absolute shit out of him, while being sponsored by his Papa Piccolo's fit. And Gohan and Piccolo probably would have won this fight with flying colors if it wasn't for Moro's turning his energy ball-sucking hacks on to drain their energy, effectively rendering Gohan and Piccolo pretty much useless, even when Goku gets a big-ass hole put into him. Something that the Piccolo family is quite familiar with at this point. And yeah, he doesn't really do much after this in the Moro arc, but hey, he's still at least keeping up with the rest of the cast and locking in when he needs to be. But he doesn't just simply coast around forever either, because in the superhero movie, when he supposedly stopped training again in favor for studying up on Super Saiyan ants because he has to freaking work his J0B, Gohan shows that he can still turn into a Super Saiyan, in the very least. But then he can also re-achieve his ultimate transformation within the same movie, because I'm getting severe senses of deja vu, and honestly, I feel like I'm just running in fucking circles at this point. And when that isn't enough, along with Chris Sabat's hand-me-down transformation to take out the semi-perfect Cell Ultra Pro Max, Gohan finally unveils his newest and greatest ascension that we have been waiting for the longest time. Beast Gohan. This is the most monumental moment for his character since he has achieved his ultimate form all the way back in the Buu Saga. It has felt like that this entire time that Gohan has just been consistently playing catch up while the real warriors, Goku and Vegeta, lock in and finish the main back. But finally, the gap has been closed, and Gohan is finally at the point where he is at least on equal footing with Goku and Vegeta. And with this power, he is able to show that he is not only powerful enough to defeat Semi-Ultra Pro Max 6009 Cell, but also that he has been training the entire time and was actually just training the Special Beam Cannon. And then finally, in the Super Manga, Gohan fights on the same level as his father and actually might have done a little bit better than him. But who knows? Goku could have just been holding back in this fight as well. But just the fact that he can fight on equal footing with Goku after all this time is insane. And that is basically where we end off this book. And with all this information laid out in plain detail in front of us, in plain autistic detail, can we really say for sure that Gohan's character has actually regressed from its prime self? Well, in a way, you could say yes, because Gohan is never going to be like his Cell counterpart again. Because let's be real here, being at the ripe age of like freaking 11 years old and taking on Cell as a Super Saiyan 2 and being the strongest warrior among the Z fighters when Goku exists is not something that can ever be done again. However, I think that a lot of people also overglaze Gohan in this era too. Because something that a lot of people seem to forget all the time is the fact that a lot of the problems that Gohan's character has consistently had all stemmed from the peak of his character. His arrogance, being a pacifist for no reason, and finally becoming the strongest and making him lose his motivation to train, all of it happened right here. So to say that Gohan's character was at its absolute best in the Cell Saga is kind of just delusional, because Gohan's character at this current moment in time has overcome a lot of those previous flaws that he previously had. And now the literal only thing that he lacks as a fighter is Goku levels of experience. Because the second thing to understand about Gohan's character before is that he used to only train strictly out of necessity, not necessarily because he wanted to. Initially, he was forced to train as a kid by Papa Piccolo, and then he was one of the only warriors left that was capable of undergoing the Namek Saga mission. And he was the only one capable of growing alongside Goku in order to push him to his very limit in the Cell Saga and achieve greater heights of power, not even realizing that the entire time that his own power had already surpassed Goku's and could easily go well beyond. And also training so that Chi-Chi can afford their grocery bills for longer than a month, because instead of getting a car, she decides to Uber all that food to their suburban asses. Then when Gohan becomes an adult, he just simply maintained this mentality until he was forced to understand that as the main protector of his family, he cannot just afford to sit around and wait for fights to get fought for him. Otherwise, he will just simply get bitched. He will get trenched. And when he is gone, there will be no one left to defend those he cares about. So to answer the question in this video, yeah, Gohan's character, it did regress. But when Gohan finally locks in and re-achieves his prime status and begins gut-checking the absolute shit out of everyone that comes within his path, I cannot help but to just and when we finally get past the point of superhero, only time will tell how far Gohan's character will be able to push himself now that he is finally actually taking his training seriously once again. It has been a long road to get here, but I think that I speak for a lot of us when I say, welcome back, Gohan, and thank you for watching this video. And I hope that you have a wonderful day.